right, first things first. How did you find out about Smash World Tour being canceled?
Am I looking at you or the camera?
Honestly, either. It's whatever you're comfortable with.
Just like everybody, I was actually streaming at the time, so that sucked. But we were watching some. We watched this like little YouTube channel called The Button. It's like little dating show stuff, and somebody just came into my stream and was like, "Smash World Tour is canceled," and I was like, "What?" And then they linked it, and then I was like, "This is an actual thing." I thought it was like a joke, and so I went to the Twitter and read that whole thing. So I pretty much found out like that.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about all this happening? Smash community is a little bit in a frenzy right now.
I mean, it sucks. It's those are that's who I started with. As far as like how I even started like commentating and even going to tournaments. It's like my third tournament ever was a VG Bootcamp tournament, and I've known those guys forever. They also sponsored me before I was sponsored by Panda, or like I was part of the team or whatever. So it sucks to read. It sucks to see anything like bad like that happen to Smash, like anything getting canceled. Like same thing with Melee's and Evo back in the day, but like this one was more personal because like I know them personally, so it was rough.
Totally. Oh no, it's linked up. Don't worry about it. Thank you though. Maybe make it a little easier.
Yeah.
Where and how will the community continue to grow?
I think that's the question a lot of people are asking right now, because like this seems like a very major like event in the Smash community's history, and it also seems like an event that like has never happened before to this scale. Like this is like a large prize. Like Evo getting canceled was like, all right, we got taken out of a tournament that's going to run regardless. You have effectively canceled an entire tournament and made everything that happened before that tournament almost obsolete, like not matter anymore. And with what is coming out about like, oh, Nintendo is now asking people to get licenses and stuff, that puts a huge check mark or like huge question mark on like what happens to the future of like big tournaments. Because a local, I think Aiden say this, but a local doesn't matter. Like you don't have to stream a local. People will just go play. Like you can't stop people from gathering at a dorm room to play or whatever if it's not being broadcasted. But to stop like major tournaments from running because they would want to stream it, they want to show it to the world, that could be a very big blow to the community, and that could potentially effectively be like what could like destroy the greater Smash community, in my opinion.
Dude, I remember when I read the article, my friend sent it to me as I walked out of the gym, and my heart just sank. I was like, okay, fine, Nintendo's stepping in. But then when I started reading it again, I was just like, it's just scary times, man. It's so scary. And then just last question. Any final words that you would like to tell the community, and like how we can all band together or anything like that? Just final thoughts?
Well, I think the one thing that I've had this thought for a long time, but obviously like there's been a lot of infighting in Smash forever. Like, if it's, Brawl versus Melee versus PM versus everybody now, because obviously, and then, they've always been kind of held down more than anybody else, I think. Melee versus Ultimate. And I think, like, regardless of what game you like, the word Smash is attached to that game. And Smash is what's being fully attacked by Nintendo. So, like, instead of attacking each other, I think this is the best time that we come together to try to save both games. It doesn't matter if you like to play the game or not. The fact of the matter is we're all, at the end of the day, playing some version of Smash. And some version of Smash, one version of Smash being held down will affect every other version of Smash, which was easily being shown right now. I mean, like, Smash World Tour might have been mostly, or the Panda Cup and the Smash World Tour were both games, and although Ultimate kind of is like the one that is newer and getting shown a lot of light, whenever something happens to Ultimate, it affects Melee. Whenever something happens to Melee, it affects Ultimate. So in the grand scheme of things, it's just about Smash. And if we as a community can band together to figure out what we can do for the whole community and not just for ourselves or whatever our favorite popular game is at the time, then I think that would go a long way. I'm not sure if it's going to fully help because, again, it's like grassroots versus corporation, and corporation always has money and backings to like really work. But if there is any semblance of hope, it's if we actually come together to try to work together as best as possible.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's one more thing I did think of on the top of my head. How, with a little bit of it being, everyone being a lot more down on themselves and being upset that all this happened, how did you prepare going into this tournament in comparison to others?
This might be my last tournament for the year. I've been traveling a lot this year. I've done a lot of like 6 to 7 week runs with like 1 week in between for tournaments. I did the last thing before Thanksgiving, I did 10 weeks in a row, but some of that was Brawlhalla as well. But just to me, the reason why it was so important for me to come here is just because I want to see my friends in a area that has nothing to do with one Smash World Tour and Panda Cup at the same time. And Mainstage was like the perfect spot for that. It's just a bunch of people who are here who want to play some Smash. Mainstage has always been a chill tournament. I've been to every single one of them. And to me, it's this is kind of like the calm before the storm, I guess, because we don't know what's going to happen for the next 2 weeks. I don't know what's Smash World Tour is canceled, and that's the aftermath of that is still rippling. But now it's kind of what's going on with the Panda Cup. A lot of people will pull back out of that. Is there even any point in going to that at all right now? A lot of people pulled out of Panda, myself included. So it's just this was the one thing to be all right, I just need a little bit of breather before I go back to the real world and figure out what I'm going to do next and what we're going to do next as a community. So I think I don't know how everybody else took it, but that's how I took it. And it's paid off. I've had a great time here, played a lot of friendlies, hung out with most of my commentator friends. It's been a good time.
And as someone who is sponsored by Panda, how does that affect you? A lot of people, it was you, IBDW, Plop, and a lot of people who have stepped away from it. What does that mean for you guys?
For everybody, I think it's a little different. I will still have a stream. I stream, and I still will go to tournaments and still get. I've been doing unsponsored work for, as far as commentary, for 12 years. So yeah, I was only sponsored for 4 or 5-ish months. And whilst that was a big achievement for me, because I had been the longest standing commentator that probably has not been sponsored by some type of org, the show will go on. It does suck because they were helping me out in ways that were important. I had just bought a car after that. The stipend that I was getting was basically going directly to my car payment. So I got to figure that out. It's not like I'm going to be homeless or anything, but I do have to figure out where to make that money back. And then I got to figure out the next step of if I'm even going to try to go out for sponsorships anymore, or if I'm just going to try to find some level of an esports industry job instead to supplement that. And for the players, I think it's different because clearly, if you're that good, Plup, IBDW, Wadi, teams will reach out to them. It's just how quickly and what team are you willing to sign with, in my opinion, is their next step. So we're all kind of I think we're all in the same boat of what's next. We haven't fully had a plan figured out, but they're probably all hopeful for the future. Or at least I would be if I was in their position.
Yeah, man, we're rooting for you. I'm standing behind all you guys. I'm just trying to make whatever voice I have. I have a small YouTube channel. I just hit 1,000 subscribers. So
nice.
I'm trying to make an interview and talk to all these people and get their words out as much as they can and try to promote it. That let's all stay together, sit tight, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm behind you, and yeah, that was it. I really appreciate you doing this for me.
No problem, dude.
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you, man.
Nice to meet you, bro.